the bed.
I've got it all covered. We have the latest software, the filters are turned on, and the computer's in the kitchen. We're all set.
My kids are just so little right now, I don't have to worry about that.
I have enough to do earning a living and taking care of my family. I expect the government to do its job and enforce the law.
Sound familiar? Inevitably, parents like these, once they've completed our program, tell me, I had no idea. Every adult needs to see this. No child is immune to online dangers. Parents, grandparents, educators, and all concerned adults have a role to play. We are all responsible for protecting the innocence of our children.
In this comprehensive four-part series, you will hear from the nation's leading experts in the fields of law enforcement, healthcare, education, and industry. You will also hear compelling real-life stories from parents, kids, a convicted sex offender, and a survivor of an internet abduction. You will learn about how to protect kids from internet pornography, sexual predators, and cyberbullies. How to keep your kids safe when using mobile devices and while on social networking and online gaming sites. And become equipped with the basic internet safety rules and tools to keep your kids from getting caught in the storm.
We're here to educate you, to equip you, and to empower you with the basic information that you need to know to keep your kids safe in this exciting new world.
1994, Enough is Enough, a nonprofit organization, emerged as the national leader on the front lines of efforts to protect kids from internet pornography and sexual predators. Since then, Enough is Enough has pioneered innovative solutions to combat these dangers and other forms of online victimization by promoting a shared responsibility for prevention, uniting the public, the technology industry, and the legal community. Enough is Enough President Donna Rice Hughes is an internationally renowned internet safety expert, author, and speaker. She has given more than 3,500 media interviews, testified in congressional hearings, served on the Child Online Protection Commission, and authored Kids Online. She is the host of the groundbreaking multimedia teaching series, Internet Safety 101. EIE stands for freedom of speech as defined by the Constitution of the United States, for a culture where all people are respected and valued, for a childhood with a protected age of innocence, for healthy sexuality, and for a society free from sexual exploitation. Enough is enough, making the internet safer for children and families.
I hate to go up.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for coming. I think as all of our participants come around onto the podium, I just want to say thanks for being persevering enough to get here with all the bad weather we've had in Washington, D.C. and the residue of it, and then all the traffic this morning. So we thank you for that. I'm Colby May. I am a director and the secretary of Enough is Enough. And on behalf of Enough is Enough, and our funding partners at the U.S. Department of Justice, the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention, AOL, AT&T, Microsoft, MySpace, Verizon, and our many other partners, I want to welcome you to this press conference and national launch of our Internet Safety 101 DVD series and our Internet Safety 101 website. I also want to welcome those who are participating on Ustream today. It's a live interactive video streaming of today's launch, and because you are an active part of this conference, please feel free to send your questions as the program unfolds, and we'll be sure to respond to them during the answer segment of the program. It's now my privilege to introduce a truly remarkable woman. She is the president and chairman of Enough is Enough, and she is an internationally recognized Internet safety expert, author, and speaker. Her 1998 book, Kids Online, Protecting Your Children in Cyberspace, helped introduce the need for Internet safety and was universally heralded as a powerful tool for parents. She was appointed by the United States Congress to serve as one of the charter members on the Child Online Protection Act Commission to examine technology solutions to protect children in cyberspace. She has been a featured guest on leading national broadcasts, including Dateline, The Today Show, The O'Reilly Factor, Oprah, 2020, and has been a regular commentator on CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. She was recognized as one of the leaders in the fight against pornography aimed at children by Oprah Winfrey, and applauded by Steve Case, the founder of AOL, as a pioneer on internet safety, helping all of us build a medium we can be proud of. She co-wrote the story for the May 2000 season finale episode of Touched by an Angel, which brought the message of internet dangers and online safety to primetime television and won the Nielsen ratings for its time slot during the May sweeps of that year. As I say, a remarkable and accomplished woman. And I could go on, but I want to conclude by just simply noting she is a magna cum laude Phi Beta Kappa graduate of the University of South Carolina, my friend, Donna Rice Hughes.
Thanks, Colby. You make me blush. That was so long ago that I was in college. Oh, my goodness. Good morning and welcome to our national launch. And I concur with Colby. Thank you for making your way here. Normally takes me about 45 minutes, and it took 2 hours this morning. So we apologize to our Ustream audience. And I also just want to remind you that this is, in fact, a virtual press conference, one of the really neat things that we can do with the internet and all the amazing technology that we have now. First, let me say that producing this program has been a labor of love over the past few years, and I want to take a second to recognize our dedicated and talented staff and board and other team members. Even our producers are here with us today. And I would also like to thank our national sponsors and partners, many of whom are here today as well. Because of your support, this program is possible. Well, on to our program. Because the internet has opened up exciting new opportunities for our children, it's really important that they're able to benefit from the positive opportunities online and be safe from the many dangers that are out there. But unfortunately, a perfect storm has emerged online, placing children at risk for exploitation due to unregulated hardcore pornography, sexual predators' easy access to kids, law enforcement limitations, and kids engaging in risky behavior. Parents must be the first line of defense, but unfortunately, they're often uninformed, ill-equipped, or overwhelmed. Well, Internet Safety 101 is not just another internet safety program. Instead, it fills a void in the market because it's the only multimedia program that is designed to educate, equip, and empower parents, educators, law enforcement, and other caring adults to protect children under their care. And as I've traveled across the country over the past 15 years teaching on this topic, I have found that parents fall into one of the following categories most of the time. Usually they think, well, you know, not my kids. It may be bad out there, but I don't have to worry about my kids. My kids are okay. Maybe somebody else's kids. Or it's really not that bad, just a lot of hype. Or, you know what, it's just so bad, I don't even let my kids online. I'm just going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Not a good idea. Or they think, you know, I got it covered. I've got that computer in the public area of the house. I've got an internet filter turned on, and I'm okay. But they don't realize they've now got the Xbox, the mobile devices, and every other mobile PDA out there that they now need to make sure is also safe for their kids to use. Or lastly, they may say, you know what, my kids are too young and I don't have to worry about it yet. Well, unfortunately, no child is immune, as you will hear today. But once parents have gone through our program, they always come back and say, you know what, I had no idea. Thanks so much. Well, today's agenda will follow the 4-part DVD teaching series that is the cornerstone of our 101 program. And let me just say to the broadcast media, we shot all of this in high definition. It's all broadcast quality, and we have the clips that you're going to be seeing today also available on our website for you to use as B-roll or excerpts. The video is a combination of a teaching before a live studio audience, together with video vignettes from experts in the field of law enforcement, some of who are here today, and industry, psychology, and internet safety. Also included are poignant stories and testimonies from kids, parents, and even a convicted sex offender. We will preview short clips from each of the 4 segments, just to give you a little taste of the content that's in each section. And then the video clips will be followed by remarks from our special speakers, most of whom are also featured experts in our program. We're all one big happy family. Anyway, we will conclude our time with a Q&A session with the media. Thank you so much. We'll roll the first clip. No,
right, I did. Can you stop? Okay. My bad. See, I've got a little line there. It's like, oops, stop. All right. The first segment is Pornography 101. Okay, we can just erase that. Delete. Delete. All right. Pornography 101. As we examine in this segment, graphic hardcore pornography is lucrative, destructive, and invasive. 7 in 10 kids have accidentally come across pornography, and most of that access, in fact, 79% occurs in the home. That's both the good news and the bad news. But the good news is that we can prevent that from happening. The $3 billion cyber porn industry uses a variety of deceptive marketing tactics to target youth. The video vignettes woven into segment 1 include kids' access to pornography, the harms of pornography, teens' advice to parents. And after viewing the following excerpts from this segment, Renee, my friend and also a law professor, will share a little of her story about the devastating impact that pornography had on her young son. Now we can roll the clip.
The content that our kids are encountering online is not your father's pornography. It is graphic, it is explicit, it is deviant, it's aberrant. Kids are seeing content that no 12 or 13-year-old is mentally, psychologically, or emotionally prepared to deal with.
The home that used to be the safe haven and a protective barrier from the world has now become the very place where the sex industry is grooming our youth. When children have access to any array of material through the click of a mouse, they can power through large amounts of material in a very brief period of time.
Even if you're not looking for it, you could be innocent. If you go on the computer, on the internet, and you're looking for something good, it will find you.
The pornographers are some of the most brilliant marketers on the internet, and they also have some very deceptive marketing tactics. The misuse of cartoon characters and child icons. Yeah. There is such a thing as Disney pornland. Your favorite Disney characters, your child can see engaging in sexual conduct with one another. And The Simpsons and many of the other ones as well. Just another marketing tactic.
Pornography, like most addictions, drugs, alcohol, etc., shuts down the prefrontal cortex. Otherwise, the prefrontal cortex would go crazy from all the anxiety from this behavior that's wrong. And then there is a loss of free agency because it demands a repetition of the experience over and over again.
Pornography shaped my want for sex and what I wanted to do whenever I started having sex, big time. It wasn't just like, you know, oh, I want to have a relationship with this girl and have sex with her. It was like, I just want to have sex with as many as I can. And then, you know, sex was pretty meaningless, you know what I mean? I just wanted to do what they did on the porn, so.
Were the girls in real life like the girls in pornography?
No, ma'am. The girls in real life are nothing like the girls in pornography.
Children are doing what children are supposed to do. The children are supposed to imitate what the adult society says is good for important women and men. We show them those pictures. We show them those acts. They will do that because that's what children are supposed to do. Does it destroy them? Yes, it does. Is it their fault? No, it's our fault.
It does make them curious because, you know, they say, okay, well, I'm watching it. Just like a little girl when she watches Cinderella, you know, she wants to be just like her. And the kids that watch porn, they want to be just like them. Pretty much kind of destroyed our lives because we depended on it. And it just broke friendships, it broke like relationships, it broke like respect for ourselves and our respect for others.
I'm here today to give you a parent's perspective on why the program being launched by Enough is Enough is so important. You see, 10 years ago when our son was still in elementary school, we had no filtering program on our computer because we didn't know we needed one. Then through a minimized porn site and our computer's history button, we discovered that our precious 11-year-old son had been to hundreds of internet pornography sites in the middle of the previous few nights. He told us a school friend had given him the initial site, but when we went to that friend's family to alert them, they told us that they didn't even own a computer. That lie by our son, the first of many that followed over the subsequent years, is not unusual. Internet pornography plants seeds of shame, deception, and guilt in its users. And it is addictive, like drugs. But unlike drugs, which eventually leave the body, these images get embedded in the brain and can never be erased. And these aren't the airbrushed, beautiful women photos of old. These are hardcore porn movies that show live sex with every combination of people you can imagine, and with animals and chains and whips and worse. No child should be exposed to this, yet it's available right in our homes at no charge with just the click of a mouse. Whenever we tried to talk to our son about this, he would shut us out. He couldn't even bring himself to discuss it. And he found ways around every attempt we made to restrict his access to the computer. Let me give you an example. We would only allow him on the computer when we were with him, and we'd even send him outside the room as we typed in our password. One time after this restricted access, I discovered the next day that he'd been up all night viewing pornography. I later learned that what he'd done was to balance our family video camera on the bookshelf above my computer keyboard, and he filmed me typing in the password. Then he spent hours that night replaying that video until he could decode my finger strokes and obtain the password. We have spent the last 10 years trying to keep our son away from this drug with little success, seeking counselors who could help him, and being frustrated and angry that we were unable to protect our child. I'm here today to tell parents that this could happen to anyone. Any family could have what happened to us happen to them. No one is immune. The internet is an incredibly useful tool that has given us many good things, but it comes with dangers as well. The good news is that the harm is preventable, and that's why I'm standing up here today to tell you that it's preventable. And that's why the Internet Safety 101 program is so important. I'm encouraged to see the internet giants and other prominent sponsors who are partnering with Enough is Enough in this endeavor. It shows they understand and it shows they care. Thank you all. Internet Safety 101 is an incredible resource for parents or anyone involved in the care of children. It will alert you to the dangers online and then show you what to do to protect your families. It's true, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I just wish we'd had that ounce of prevention 10 years ago.
Thank you, Renee. Renee shares more of her story in the question and answer session of the Pornography 101 segment, and we have so many poignant stories that people are willing to share, and we're grateful because sometimes it really takes that to get us to open our eyes and go, you know what, that could happen to me, because what our goal is to motivate parents and educators and others to take the proactive steps that they can take so that their kids can enjoy a rewarding experience online and be safe from the dangers. So thanks, Renee. This next segment we call Predators 101. You've heard a lot about internet predators. A lot of it's overblown, but a lot of it's not, because it's real. Predators are out there. They're aggressive, they're intrusive, and they're seductive. They have easy and anonymous access to our children and to graphic child abuse images, also known as child pornography. This content only serves to fuel their sexual appetite for children, both online and offline. And while most of the child sex abuse does occur offline by someone even that the child knows, still internet solicitations of children is a big problem. In fact, 1 in 7 kids have received a sexual solicitation online, and about 37% of those contacts occur in chat rooms, and about 40% occur through instant messaging.
Also, predators are using the internet to virtually validate their criminal behavior with one another. Predators 101 uncovers the MO of those who prey on kids, how they groom kids, and also examines the behaviors that kids engage in that put them at risk. To illustrate these dangers, I interviewed a convicted sex offender in a high-security prison who shared critical information with us that parents need to know. Additionally, we filmed undercover police interacting with predators in game rooms, in game sites, and chat rooms. And actually, some of them are here today, but they're not the ones that were undercover, but they're also in our film. Chad and Melissa from the FBI, thank you for coming. This segment concludes with a story of a very special young lady, Elisa Kozakevich, who will speak with us after we view this next package on grooming. As you will see, predators target children to become their BFF, to seduce them to TDTM and GNOC, and to eventually MIRL. Now, did any of you guys know what I just said? Well, these and other important acronyms are actually in all of our 101 program, and you can look it up. How you want to say that again? BFF, to seduce them to be their TDTM, and GNOC, and to eventually MIRL. Okay, well, next we're going to show the clip on grooming, and then Alicia is going to share part of her story.
In the online world, predators use the same tactic, and it's what we call grooming, or law enforcement calls grooming. They build a relationship, they try to understand what they care about, they give them compliments, sometimes they'll even send presents or say nice things, and eventually a teen will start having feelings for a predator. And it's at that point where the danger begins.
The grooming behavior that we have seen can take months, or it can take a very short amount of time depending on the offender.
And little by little, the conversation will turn off into a very sexual nature, and they'll start to talk to the child about what their interests are, and they'll try to find out what the child's interests are, and often they will get the child to say things that the child couldn't even imagine talking about. And sometimes children will talk about things that they don't even know what they mean, because they're clearly very adult sexual conversations.
They are inundated with sexual images and sexual conversation that allow them to very freely participate in those types of conversations and activities. Typically, I would just start by asking for a regular picture, and then if it got to that level, I would eventually ask for a picture of more of a sexual nature.
Grooming is really easy to understand once you give thought to it. Everybody wants to feel love, and these people online are willing to make you feel that way. And it never occurs to you that the person that you're talking to may be a monster, and they do it in the most subtle ways. You get in a fight with a friend. Your friend called you that? Oh my gosh, why would your friend ever call you that? That's not a friend. I'm your real friend. I would never say anything like that. And they pull you away from everything around you, all your friends and your family and your teachers. And as you're getting pulled away, you're getting closer to him.
Hello, I'm Alicia Kozakevich, and at 13 I was lured from my home by a sadistic internet predator who held me captive, chained and tortured. And as I had disappeared without a trace, it was 1,000,000 to 1 shot against my recovery. 1,000,000 to 1. And as easily as that, a child's life is reduced to a simple statistic. But by the grace of God, I was rescued. I was gifted with a miracle, with my life, and with a mission, sharing my experience so I might spare others the agonies that my family and I have endured. And so I am here with you today because I have faith that everything happens for a reason. My abduction ended with the best possible outcome in the worst case scenario. But in actuality, my abduction began long before this man physically ever touched me. It began 8 months earlier. It began the very day we first made virtual contact, when the predator discovered in me this vulnerable characteristic for which predators search. Shy, naive, and curious, like most children, like your own children. I was confused by the societal pressures which increasingly demanded a sexual maturity for which I was completely unprepared and defenseless against. In the course of our online relationship, this monster was able to befriend the young girl that I was through his constant online presence and feigned support, and by answering my most hesitant questions. Through that incredibly effective process of internet grooming, he impaired my ability to rationalize. He molded me, bite by bite, slowly twisting me into something that I was not. And throughout this process, I was alone. My parents, like most, recognized the net as an incredible educational tool, but were clueless and unable to speak the digital language in which the children were becoming everly more fluent every day. Most barely knew how to turn on the computer, let install a program to monitor activity, or search the history. This lack of parental education preparation, the cultural disconnect, has allowed children unprecedented freedom to dance with danger, to push that envelope like never before. Even the best of parents trusted that we would behave accordingly online, unaware that the core values which they had so unlovingly instilled us did not translate into the wild, wild web, where we were reinventing ourselves daily, embracing fantasy and suspending reality in ways they could never fathom. Had there been a training tool like Internet Safety 101, this horrible tragedy may not have befallen my family. For in any scenario, parents remain their children's first line of defense. Sadly, as mine weren't armed with the knowledge, neither was I. Had my parents been made aware of the incredible power of the web, they would have been able to better prepare me and to harness the web monitoring safety softwares to stand guard in their absence. Over the course of the past 3 years, I've spoken to thousands of children and their parents, and I am terrified by what I've learned. Absolutely terrified that adults are really no less clueless than they were then. Wake up. Recognize that each and every one of your beloved little prince and princesses are at risk. If there's any one bit of information I can share with you today, it's that what your children are accessing on the web is pure evil. And while my horrific experience is on the extreme end of the spectrum, the damage that is being done to each and every web surfing child who is no less properly monitored may be no less significant. My parents would give anything, to have protected their precious child from the hands of that monster. There is a quote that my mother lives by. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. She and my father are here with us today to join Donna in Enough is Enough in her mission to do just that, to protect America's families with Internet Safety 101. Thank you so much, Donna, and thank you all for being here and caring.
Thank you, Alicia. She's a remarkable young woman, and you've come so far since we met so many years ago. And thanks for taking a stand and using your pain to help others. I think sometimes it's hard for us to think that you know, these kinds of dangers really do exist. And like Alicia said, she was one of the lucky ones in that she survived. And I think there are a lot of other kids out there that are being grooming that never actually go out to meet the person that they've been talking to. But let's just say that, you know, no child is immune, and it's important that we realize this. And the internet is a terrific tool. It really is, but it can be used for good or for evil. It can be, the benefits are extraordinary, but it can also be misused, and that's what we're here to prevent. So thanks, Alicia. Also, Alicia and her mother, Mary, are featured experts in our Q&A section of this video clip, of this video segment. The next segment is Web 2.0, and this segment deals with the evolving internet that is now highly interactive and mobile. Kids have anywhere access, anytime access. Our children are living, learning, and growing up online, which is why it's so important that parents are involved in their online activities. 72% of kids have social networking sites, and almost half of those are publicly viewable by anyone. and kids are spending over an hour a day playing online gaming devices. And 1 in 5 kids have actually engaged in some form of sexting. This segment is divided into 3 sections: social networking, online gaming, and cyberbullying. Each section deals with the great ways that kids are using these technologies, then the associated dangers and the safety solutions. Also, Chris Clapp-Logan, who is our communications director, serves as a social media expert in this segment, and you're going to meet her in the clip that's about to follow. After you view the clip, Diane Florence, who is the past president of the Virginia PTA, will talk with us. What's the most you do at one time?
I'll be on the computer listening to music, doing my homework, maybe watching a YouTube video in the background, and the TV's on in the back.
I can listen to music, watch a movie, text, use AIM, and check my Facebook and MySpace and still talk on the phone at the same time.
One of the great things about social networking sites is that teens are going onto these areas to express themselves. When parents look at these, they say, what the heck am I looking at? What is all that clutter up there? They say this looks like a school yearbook on steroids. And so I try and tell them that for our kids today who go online to try on new identities and to express themselves, they're taking all the things that they think about, all the things that they feel, and all the things that they really want to show to their peers and to community, and they're putting all of those on a social networking site.
Think about one of the most important questions that teens really understand. Are you willing to share this information in front of your school assembly? And have a discussion with what's appropriate, what's not.
Have you ever posted any videos or pictures of yourself online?
No, I haven't, but I have some friends that have put pictures of me on their Facebooks or MySpace without asking me.
Have you had a chance to look at some of her friends and what they're posting about her online?
No, and that's a little disturbing. I didn't know that.
You choose whether your profile can be viewed freely or if you want it to be locked to only people you accept as your friend. And I had mine open freely. I didn't think nothing of it. This one guy, his name was like Daddylicious or something, and he tried to be my friend, and I was like, no, and then I sent him a message. I was like, leave me alone.
When I'm playing Nickelodeon.com, Nicktropolis, I see pop-ups that usually come in the middle of the game. The pop-ups are usually like naked girls.
Online gaming devices are just like a computer, and a lot of parents don't realize that. The online predators are on the cutting edge of technology. When something's new, they're trying it out. It gives them basically their foot in the door, it gives them the commonality, having something in common right from the beginning.
If they're giving me tips on the game, I probably will take the tips, but when I'm talking to them on my earpiece and they ask me how old I am, I won't tell them. I would just ask them, why do you need to know? Or if they ask me where I'm from, I'll say I'm like from Australia and use an Australian voice or something like that.
Cyberbullying can take place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, through instant messaging and text messaging, chat rooms, social networking sites.
People have stolen my passwords, gotten on, changed the passwords, changed my pictures, saying things like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm fat, like saying that about myself, and then like going on my boyfriend's page saying I want to break up with him.
They think they're so big when they're like 20 miles away from you, but then like next day at school you're like, yeah, I saw what you said on MySpace. I think I'm gonna have to beat you up now or whatever. I didn't get into like physical fights. I got into verbal fights. It just starts so much drama, and I always say take your drama to your mama.
Good morning. When the paths of Virginia PTA and Enough is Enough crossed, it was the beginning of a wonderful opportunity for our association. Virginia PTA, proponents of parental involvement, along with EIE's other partners, worked alongside Enough is Enough as they labored tirelessly to develop a user-friendly, non-threatening multimedia program to benefit the parents, teachers, and communities of our Commonwealth. A program focused on parents being the front line of defense in keeping their children safe as they navigate this wonderful invention, and it is truly wonderful, this wonderful invention called the internet. As a former teacher, a parent, and now grandparent, I can testify to the fact that parents and caregivers have been very much like the rest of society, slow when it comes to understanding the potential harms children can face online. It is critical to reach them at the grassroots level, and 101 does just that. The program is easy to use, whether you're one parent viewing it in the privacy of your own home, or 50-plus parents and concerned citizens viewing it in an assembly hall. The program almost runs itself and does not require a technology or internet safety expert to be present in order to get the maximum benefit of the information that is being presented. I know from having presented 101 multiple times that it is a program that does not scare parents, but gives them accurate facts about potential harms and offers solutions as well as additional resources to use when needed. I have seen parents laugh and cry as the program appeals to their heart and to their head. They are appreciative, feeling better equipped to protect their children online on all internet-enabled devices using rules and tools and the other many resources provided. Social networking and online gaming are relatively new to today's parents. Internet Safety 101 shares the benefits and the potential dangers children can face as they explore these opportunities, and more importantly, offers preventatives parents can use to ensure the safety of our children. In 2007, Harris Interactive disclosed that 43% of kids ages 13 to 17 reported being cyberbullied. This finding is of concern to parents because it is at these ages that often communication between parent and child will begin to break down. 101 offers suggestions on how parents can open up the dialogue about cyberbullying, how parents need to begin the conversation about responsible internet usage as early as possible. As I watched news clips in January showing the overwhelming anger and grief of the parents in Massachusetts after the suicide death of a young girl where cyberbullying was suspected, I thought about segment 3 and how if those parents had had benefit of the information found there might have been a totally different outcome. We at Virginia PTA applaud Enough is Enough, as we know from our pilot experience that children will be safer online as parents, caregivers, and community members are empowered by this important program. And we thank you for helping us get the word out to parents on the national level.
Thanks, Diane. Virginia PTA has been a wonderful, wonderful partner, and we successfully piloted our program in Virginia in partnership with them and with the Verizon Foundation. And 95% of the parents and educators that were surveyed reported that after they went through our program that they were highly motivated to implement safety measures. And that is great news because that's what our goal is. This final segment of the 4-part teaching series is where we wrap it all up. This is the safety segment. This is Safety 101. This is the program takeaway. We spent the first 3 segments educating adults to better understand what the dangers are so that we can motivate them to take proactive steps. Parents need to develop the critical thinking skills in order to protect their kids online. Our message is about prevention. While there is no silver bullet to keep kids safe in the virtual world, fortunately, you don't need a PhD in internet technology. In fact, research shows that when parents regularly talk to their kids about internet safety, that their kids are engaging in fewer risky behaviors. And that's good news. That's just from talking to them, but there's a lot more that parents need to do. In this segment, our goal is to provide a solid understanding of the safety rules and the software tools, or we call them rules and tools, to ensure children have a safe and rewarding experience on the internet. The rules section covers the non-technical safety measures, and the tools section covers the technical safety measures to protect kids. And it's essential that both rules and tools are implemented on all internet-enabled devices. It's no longer just the desktop. There's a laptop, a PDA, a gaming device, and a mobile phone. And all of these need to be equipped with rules and tools. And it's vitally important for parents and educators to focus on the positive uses of the internet while teaching their children about the dangers and how to make wise choices online. Next, we'll preview excerpts from the Internet Safety 101 segment, after which Holly Hawkins from AOL, who is featured throughout our program, will offer her remarks. And you'll also notice in this section, while the other sections are about 30 to 40 minutes in length and are woven together with these video vignettes, but the live teaching is in front of a live audience, this section we actually went into a what we call it in front of a green screen, and it's a little more high-tech and really gives an opportunity to demonstrate some of the rules and the tools that you'll see in this next clip. It is essential to know what your kids are doing online and who they're communicating with. Talk with them about their online activities. Ask them about the people on their buddy list and anyone that they've friended on a social networking or gaming site.
Just be aware of what they're looking at, because they can be like sitting there looking at it and then be with their door closed and your parents walk in and they'll just click it and minimize it. So like sometimes you have to come up to it and look at the bottom, at the toolbar, and see what they're looking at.
Instruct your children to use privacy settings to limit who can view their social networking and gaming profiles. Be aware that even this does not always ensure true privacy, because friends have access to and could distribute any content from their profile.
Even before you add them, you can still message them, because every time someone tries to add me and I don't know them, or their picture doesn't look familiar to me, I always message them saying, "Do I know you?" or "Have I seen you before?" And they say, "No, I just think you're cool." I'm like, "Deny."
In addition to safety rules, protecting kids online requires the use of software tools, better known as parental controls. These tools allow parents to restrict, tailor, or manage internet content and activity. However, they are not a substitute for parental supervision. Parental controls should be utilized on all internet-enabled devices, including desktops, laptops, cell phones, PDAs, gaming, and music devices.
If I had had even the most basic software that blocked chat rooms, we may have had a different outcome.
Major search engines offer child-safe zones and provide safe search options that can block inappropriate content before the filters even get going. This is an example of a Google image search of the word sex. Using the strict search setting, you can see in the results the images are mostly wholesome. Using the moderate search settings, well, we get some racier images. And finally, a search on sex with the safe search turned off, well, we had to block most of the images. The mobile internet allows instant communication anytime, anywhere. Children can receive content, videos, and photos through their cell phones and other portable devices. If you allow your child to have mobile internet access, it is essential to utilize parental controls offered by your mobile carrier.
With regard to rules and tools on your mobile devices, just think of them as no different than a mini little computer or a mini laptop. Parents have to just come to the realization that there's a lot of things that their children are doing on mobile devices that they should know about.
Hello, my name is Holly Hawkins, and I'm the Director of Consumer Policy and Child Safety at AOL. I'm delighted to be here today participating in the launch of Enough is Enough's Internet Safety 101 program. It's a truly unique teaching series designed to bring the internet safety education into the busy lives of parents and other caregivers. The program is not designed to cause fear, but to empower parents with safety rules and tools to help foster a safe and secure online experience for their children. As a company that's long been a pioneer in helping families stay safe online, AOL understands the importance of rules and tools. AOL has offered parental controls for nearly 2 decades. Our parental controls enable parents to determine where their children can go on the internet, with whom they can interact, when and how long they can be online, and offer the option of receiving a report of their children's online activities. AOL, like most providers, offer parental controls for free, yet sadly, so many parents and others are not taking advantage of industry-provided safety tools. I've had the opportunity to participate in several internet safety presentations held by Enough is Enough, in which segments of the Internet Safety 101 program were shown. And I've seen the positive impact that it has had on parents and others. They come away empowered to take action. The internet is an incredible tool that's brought the world to our fingertips, and with that, many opportunities. But as in the offline world, there are places that our children shouldn't visit and people that they shouldn't communicate with. Thus, the need to educate, empower ourselves and our children, and use safety rules and tools to help guide them to be safe and responsible digital citizens. On behalf of AOL, I support the Internet Safety 101 program, and I encourage parents and other caregivers to take advantage of such a valuable safety resource. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. AOL has been a wonderful partner and sponsor over the years, and we're so grateful for all that you've done to help make this program a reality, and also to all of our other sponsors. And I will just say that AOL, as well as MySpace, are running banner ads starting today on the Internet Safety 101 program pro bono for us, and we're very grateful. Thank you. We've had a lot done for us pro bono, and I also just want to thank the Heritage Foundation for donating this wonderful, beautiful space for us here today. So thank you. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here with those final remarks from me, and then we're going to have a little time of Q&A with the media. Well, the Multimedia 101 program, which includes a 4-part DVD series, accompanying workbook, and resource guide, as well as the Internet Safety 101 website, are designed for both individual or group use. They duplicate the power of in-person trainings, and they're an easy plug-and-play program that doesn't require a facilitator, like Diane said. And we bring the experts, the top expert, directly to you, and also very poignant real-life stories to, again, try to grab your head and your heart. And sometimes it's not the facts that you remember, it's the stories. And so that's why they are so important, and we're so grateful to Renee and to Alicia and to so many of the people, the kids in our program that share their stories with you. Another unique feature of the 101 program is that it serves as a clearinghouse of detailed information on industry tools and resources, as well as other internet safety programs such as NetSmarts, WebWise Kids, and iKeepSafe. Now, our program is targeted to parents, educators, and other caring adults, but there are lots and lots of terrific programs that are targeted to kids, and those are very important too, and it's important that they be used. And I hope that those of you who are with us today will grab a copy of our resources. This is the workbook. It's a big, thick workbook. The first half of it, you actually can follow through the 4-part DVD teaching series. Each of those 4 parts is about 30 to 40 minutes. But the whole second half is all about resources. So this is really a clearinghouse. And we have all of this on our website with live links. And we've actually kept this updated. And then we have the little takeaway, which is the Rules and Tools booklet. This is a little handy Rules and Tools booklet. And then this is our film series onto 2 discs. So I will also say that we just got word that this will be in retail stores across the country, and it went live on Amazon today as well. So we're very grateful for that. Well, in wrapping up, no doubt the perfect storm does place kids at risk, but we believe that our program can and will change key dynamics to prevent that storm. Specifically, uninformed, ill-equipped, and overwhelmed parents will become educated, equipped, and empowered parents. Our innocence, our children's innocence is worth fighting for. And parents need to actively engage in the battle. And by giving parents the knowledge and the confidence and the expertise they need, the 101 program will empower a good parent to become a really good cyber parent. So thank you for your time, and we're going to open it up now for questions and answers with our media that may be here, but I think most of them are probably online virtually through Ustream. So let's go ahead and get some questions coming in, but I also want to let you know that we also, in addition to our panel, we have some special folks here with us that are partners and sponsors that are available to answer any questions, including Mary, Alicia's mom, Brent from AT&T. We have Bob Flores, who's the former director of the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, that's at DOJ, and actually his department funded most of the internet safety programs on the market, and I think Bob will say, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but that this program is the best of the breed out there for parents. And we also have someone from S-Mobile, right? I'm sorry, I don't have my list here, and I think Nat Nanny, right? And as well as Salvation Army, who is one of our national partners and has been for many years, and we're very grateful. Actually, the Commissioner Eva Gaither from the National Salvation Army is here with us, and she's also on our board, and Betty Israel. Okay, so we want to start with some questions. Are you going to bring them in, Michael, from Ustream? Do we have any questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm Dana Ritter with CBN News.
Hi.
I have two questions for you. My first question is, at what point should parents really get this on their radar? I'm talking about ages of children. How young should the children be when the parents really start to seek out this kind of education?
Well, I'm going to let some of my panelists answer that, but let me just say this, that we have a number of pages in our workbook that has age-based guidelines, and I think that that's really important to follow. You know, I think as a parent today, you just have to assume that your kids are going to start becoming pretty digitally active at a very young age, maybe, you know, as early as 3 and 4. I mean, they can, you know, whiz through a computer keyboard like nobody's business. So, so we do provide, you know, a lot of information about that. But I would just say just as soon as possible, you know, you need to understand this technology and then to begin starting to teach your kids about safety and how to use it safely. Who else wants to answer that? Holly?
Certainly. I agree with Donna. The earlier the better. I have children, young children, and my daughter at age 5, before she could actually read, was typing in brands into the search engine. And I didn't expect it. And so I would say, yes, the 4 to 5 years old would be the age.
As soon as that computer comes in the house, that's when you sit down and have the talk. Appropriate age level talk, but that's when you sit down and have the talk.
And if I might add, the other thing is that children especially can mistype, and when you mistype, that's when you can get those pop-ups, and they're very explicit. And I agree, as soon as that computer comes in.
Anybody else? Brent, you want to?
No, I agree with what everyone's saying here. I think we got to start educating when the kids are using the devices, computers, and other.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I agree with the panelists. At AT&T, there's many different devices you can use with your service, and kids obviously are using them for a lot of great things, but you just need to be educating them to make sure that they know what they're doing with it. Obviously, age-appropriate education is important because different kids have, at different ages have different levels of ability to understand.
If I could just add one more thing. We have a statistic from the Herald Sun study in Australia that says 1 in 5 children under age 7 use the internet without parental supervision. That's under age 7.
Okay, and Donna, my second question was about getting this word out there. What are some other ways, I heard Diane talk a little bit about the PTA program, but are you also offering seminars, through the community groups or through law enforcement or through churches? I mean, what are some of the other ways that this can be used?
Thank you for asking. We actually designed this to get the experts to the communities. And we don't actually have to go out and do this anymore because, you know, the experts are in here. So we've actually created this program to where it can be co-branded by other organizations. So we are looking to partner with grassroots types of organizations that already have those relationships. So for instance, Salvation Army is a great partner. Virginia PTA is a great partner. We just partnered with the Virginia AG's office, and they actually have purchased the program to send out to the faith-based communities throughout Virginia. To, you know, whether they be Christian or Muslim or Jewish and synagogues and everything else. So that's the beauty, I think, of the program. We're also hopefully relying on the media to get the word out. We have an abbreviated version of this program on the internet at Internet Safety 101, and we hope that that will prompt a lot of interest. But basically, I would say through partnerships, you know, major partnerships. We are actually looking to bring this program, and have already started work with the state of Utah and Maryland. And what we did in Virginia, I think, was truly unique. And we're looking to do that kind of thing statewide, as well as just, you know, reaching individual parents and others. But it's great for small groups. For instance, I mean, this is, you know, this little DVD, that's all you need in a computer or a DVD player, and you're off and running. Anybody else?
Donna, here's one from the chat room on Ustream. It says, how do you tell if children are using proxy servers to bypass monitoring software that records a history of online activity?
I'm going to go to one of my technology people for that. Would you like to answer that? Sure. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Doug Anderson from NetNanny. You can tell really by just looking either at the history in your browser or by using internet filtering software that does reporting. And you want to pick a filter that blocks or filters proxy servers. Proxy is the #1 way that kids are savvier than their parents when it comes to the internet. And if you think that you're covered because you've installed something, you are probably living in a fantasy world. Your kids know how to get around this stuff, so you want to find a way that blocks the stuff that kids know about. So ask somebody if you don't know, because if you don't know, then you're not doing it. And proxy is the #1 way the kids will get around, and a proxy site is essentially, it's like a landing page out on the web from which kids can go anywhere they want. And so you want an internet filter that will either filter those or block those and detect those. And shameless plug, NetNanny does that.
Did anybody else want to make a comment on that from our technology? Holly? We do, by the way, give very detailed instructions in our rules and tools section. In fact, one of the things that we do say that it's important to block those proxy servers right now, because I think from what I understand, you can't really filter that content yet. So it's important to, you can filter it, okay. But so we really try to give parents a checklist of what they need to be looking for in their parental controls suites. And you notice that most anybody out there that has parental controls are our partners. So we're not pointing to one or over the other, but we're saying, look, you know, when you're looking for parental controls, you want to have the following features. You want to be able to filter. You want to be able to monitor. You want to be able to set time limits and to manage that time wisely. And the really neat thing about managing time is most of the parental controls products out there, for instance, let's say you have 5 kids, you can by their name and their age and the age appropriateness, of what you want them to be able to see, you can actually decide which child has what amount of time. Does that make sense? So for instance, Johnny, who's 6, may only get 1 hour in a completely closed setting, whereas, Mary, who's 15, may get 2 or 3 hours a day in a much more open, filtered setting. So that's the beauty of these parental controls. But that's the good news. The bad news is they won't work unless you use them. And I think most of the parental control companies out there will tell you that they would like to see their parental controls much more highly utilized, because they're there to help, and they work. Any other questions?
Yeah, kind of along those lines. Kids are so sneaky. How do I catch them in the act of risky behavior on phones, games, or social networks?
Who wants to try that one? Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Dan Hoffman with us Mobile Systems, and certainly the mobile devices adds a unique dynamic to being able to monitor children's activities. And there's no loss of studies out there on sexting and children sending pictures to each other. And that's where we developed a solution, was really carrying it from the laptop, from the desktop to the mobile device, to where parents can get alerted when keywords come in of a graphic nature or a drug nature or violent nature from via text message, to be able to monitor the pictures as they're being distributed from the device. It's really understanding that the mobile device is a computer and needs to have the software installed as well, and that's what a big part of what we do, as well as with our partnership with NetNanny.
Could I add to that? Keeping in close contact with your children, and you can tell these are not bad kids. These are good kids, and they just happen to get into this whole arena, and it's very damaging, and you can tell a difference in the way your kid behaves, the way they act, because they are very affected by it. And so keeping in close contact with your kids, talking to them, checking the history on those computers, and just being aware, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah, I think, we talk about rules and tools, and that might be a little misleading. Like I said, the tools are the technical side of this, and the rules are really, they're not the rules for the kids, they're the rules for the adults. And one of the things that we instruct adults to do is to talk regularly with their children about their internet use, spend time alongside of them, know what they're doing, ask questions, role play, do all these kinds of things. The tools are just the technical things that you can do. It's kind of like an offense and a defense, okay? That I think the tools are more of the defense. And the offense is that, engaging your kids, building that relationship. And I know sometimes it's hard for parents because they know that they may not know as much about technology as their kids, but that's kind of the good news too, because kids love to tell you what they're doing and they love to show you things. So that's a great way to get the dialogue going. We have one of our experts online, and she's always talking about, you've got to start that dialogue early, but it's not just a one-time dialogue. I mean, I think some parents just like to say, okay, I can check this box. I had the talk. Had the sex talk, I had the computer safety talk, I had the talk. Well, with the internet, this is their world, okay? The lines have been blurred between the virtual and the offline world. And so we need to have those conversations daily with our kids, just like we have daily, how was your day at school? How was it when you spent the night with Susie? And we need to have those conversations daily about what they're doing online. Alicia, you want to add to this?
Kids are really sneaky, and they're pretty much always going to be one step ahead. So you need to realize that you need to try to be one step ahead of them. A lot of times there's a lot of privacy issues when it comes to monitoring software. And do some momisms here because I'm still young, but it's ridiculous. Parents really need to stop trying to be only their child's friend. They need to be the parent. When my mom speaks, she does something and she says there's an ancient secret and we've forgotten it. It's raise your hand and say, I am the parent. And that's what parents really need to do. We don't let them drink and drive. We don't let them smoke. So why do you let them have the internet to themselves? The internet is the world. It is the World Wide Web. All the good and all the bad of the world is coming into your child. So you really need to think about that and what you want to protect them from.
Thanks, Alicia.
Okay, we have another question
I
from
think we had another question back here for somebody in the audience.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Donna, I'm Michael Leahy with Bravehearts. I speak to a lot of large groups of parents, especially in churches. I also speak to college and university students, but this is a great product and a great tool that you developed. That's why I'm here. My question specifically is, on your website, I noticed you have a place for facilitators, like a facilitators login. Could you comment a little bit on what your vision is for that? Because like my organization, hopefully we're going to raise up a whole lot of facilitators that can do this kind of training all over the country. But I'd like to know what kind of resources they'll be able to draw on long term.
Right. Thank you for asking. We are actually working on that part of our site right now. But we do have a facilitators program that has all of this material in it, extra rules and tools, and also a facilitator's guide. And again, our facilitator's guide is really tiny because you don't need to know a whole lot. It's just, guiding someone who may want to be, taking these programs and doing them themselves. Sometimes the facilitator or the teacher, and Diane could even tell you this, we found this with PTA, even though you don't really need to do anything but put it in the computer, they like to feel a little more, like, okay, well, how do I lead a Q&A at the end of this? Or what if somebody asks me this kind of question? So we have that kind of information available in the facilitator's guide. And we're looking for partnerships, so this would be great. Thank you. Thanks for your work.
And in our schools, we have technology experts, and they're often very willing to come and help you handle any questions that might come up that you don't feel equipped to answer. And I've had several of them down in the Virginia Beach area where we have presented this tell me what a wonderful program they think this is for parents. That it's just not about the technical, it's about the head and the heart, and that it has been very successful there.
Mm-hmm. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, but that area, the facilitator's login, we hope to have a whole interactive part of this where we can actually work with our facilitators and that they can share information back and forth so that they can learn from one another as well.
Yeah, because they usually,
yeah, they can bounce off each other and say, this worked for me, this didn't. You try to, Mm-hmm. Right. Other questions?
Okay, we have another question from the chat room. Won't kids just go to a different computer at a friend's house, for example, if their home one is filtering the sites they want to see?
Well, yes, they absolutely will. And this is why it's important that, for instance, parents, when your kids are, when you establish what your kids can and can't do as far as your own house rules, it's important when your kids are going to someone else's home that they're following those same rules as well, and to find out, what the parents are doing to keep kids safe in their own home where your kids are actually visiting. Does anybody, Bob, do you have I can see you up there wanting to jump up and say something.
Well, I would just add that, this is a great opportunity to talk with your kids with something in the middle between you and your kids. One of the most difficult things to do is to talk to your children about things where they could very well turn right back to you and say, well, what do you do when you encounter something like this? So this is an opportunity for you to build a relationship with your children by talking about that computer use. You both use the computer. I don't think there's a dad, a mom here who's not run into some of those pop-ups themselves. What do you do when that happens? And you don't have control outside your home the way you do inside. So that's an opportunity for you to build community with your neighbors. I'm always surprised by the little we know about the parents and the home of our children's friends who they want to have a sleepover at, they want to go over and play, they want to spend the afternoon. So one of the great things about this program is that it's been designed to work and build community, so that if this is being done by the PTA, then maybe 200 or 300 or 400 parents that night in that community have gotten that information. And so now we hope that we'll elevate the entire community so that when your kids are out playing, they're in a safe environment. Because we have these challenges, whether it's the keg parties in the summer where you have 200 or 300 kids show up. As communities grow and as we can talk about this, I think that's really important. And that's one of the reasons why it's meant to be distributed by anybody. So if you buy this as a parent, you can take it after you're done using it and turn it over to your PTA, or take it to your church or synagogue, or take it to your one of your community organizations and just give it to them and say, look, you may want to run this program for your members. So it's important because you don't control anyone else's home, but that's where your kids spend a lot of time.
Let me also just say, I think it's a good place to mention that we have a whole little part of our program. It's called the Parent Pledge, where parents actually take a pledge. We talk a lot about kids taking an internet safety pledge, and that's important, and we have one in our program as well. But the parents taking a pledge about what they're going to do. And what our goal is to get those parents to implement rules and tools on all those internet-enabled devices. But part of that is also what we call the parent buddy check, where we encourage parents to have a parent buddy, where they have other parents that are helping to hold them accountable as a parent to make sure that they're doing what they need to do and that they're keeping current on technology and that they're keeping current with their kids. And, I can really foresee
a movement. Of course, I happen to think really big, but of the parents of the kids who run together, having a little parent circle of saying, okay, we're all implementing rules and tools, and we're doing this and we're doing that. Because I can tell you, I had two teenagers. I'm a grandmother now. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. And anyway, just kidding. But they would say, okay, I would say, where are you staying tonight? And Sean would say, well, I'm going to Sam's. Okay, great. Well, if I don't call Sam's mom, and find out, well, they're not staying here. They said they were staying at your house. Oh, well, no, they're not staying here. Well, now we know we've got a problem. So we're used to doing these things in the physical world, and I think it's important that we start doing that as parents in the cyber world. Because just like kids can social network, we can social network on the internet with each other, and we can do a lot to form those cyber neighborhoods of caring parents, and that's what we want to do. Any other questions?
Hi, Lisa Castellana from the Heritage Foundation. I was just wondering if this program is currently available in Spanish, or if you have plans to make it available in any other language.
Yes, thank you. It is actually one of the programs that we're doing is in the LA charter schools, and they have done their own version of this program in Spanish. So we would like to take this to the Spanish-speaking community. There are so many underserved communities. The Spanish-speaking community is one of them, and they just had their first session last week. And actually, they just, had someone in the dialect out there in Southern California in Spanish, do a voiceover, so you actually see all of our teaching, and then it's, goes to Spanish. So it's, that's the way that is, and we just haven't seen it yet. But we do have plans to do that, and just like anything else as a nonprofit, it all takes funding. So we're looking for that funding, yes. So our goal is to have that in Spanish, hopefully this year, depending on, whether or not we get the funding for it. Any other questions?
This is from online. It says, how are parents supposed to keep up with all this stuff? Twitter, iPods, Facebook is a lot of stuff.
There is a lot of stuff. I'm going to call on my social networking expert, Chris Clapp.
Well, one of the great things about the Internet Safety 101 program is that we really kind of distill everything down to the basics. So when we go over the rules and tools, the technical and non-technical resources that parents need to know to protect kids online, these things are really applicable across all Internet-enabled devices. So whether your kid is accessing the Internet through their cell phones, through their PDA, through a music player, or through the computer, then these resources are really applicable. And so the conversation really, as y'all have heard today, is one of the most important steps. So before you even turn on the computer, there's a great thing you can do is just sit down and talk with your kids, and that really has the biggest impact on whether or not they're going to be safe online. But it is hard to keep up, but also, as you've heard today, by just having those conversations, asking your kid, what they're doing online, they're able to really teach you and show you what they're doing and really catch you up to speed.
And we do say, especially in talking about the social media, because it really does seem to be moving so fast, especially Twitter. But I still haven't started tweeting yet. But anyway, it's hard for us to keep up, even as people working on internet safety. But what I found, I've been doing this for 15 years now, is the basics haven't really changed. The basics really haven't changed. And the social networking sites, for instance, you can set, your profiles to private. Parents need to make sure that their kids' profiles are set to private, whether it's on a social networking site or on a gaming site, and they need to know who their friends are. This goes back to the old instant messaging days when that's all we had. We said, have a parent-approved buddy list. Well, setting your the kids' social networking sites to private is really just the next evolution of a parent-approved buddy list on IM. So again, we keep coming back to the basics, and that's what's really important for parents to know, because we created this because we knew that in 2 years there are going to be other things that haven't even been invented yet. But if you understand the basic rules and tools, and then you understand how the people that are the bad people that are misusing the internet are misusing it, then you can go, okay, understand the pornographers are intrusive and they're deceptive and that they're predators out there and that there are cyberbullies and identity thieves and all this kind of stuff, and kids can do some really goofy things too. Okay, I got all that, and I understand the basic rules and tools, so that now 2 years down the road they'll go, apply, just apply it, apply it, apply it. And that's what we're after.
Any other questions? Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Any of our sponsors, partners, Salvation Army, would y'all like to share anything? Mary, Brent, Bob, anybody on our panel? Any wrap-up comments?
Well, I'd just like to say from a parent's perspective, as with all issues, that communication with your child is always the most important. And parents need to trust their children, yes, but they also need to verify. And that's always been the case. So parents, keep communicating, keep those lines open, and do your homework. You know, get your own Facebook page. Make sure that you are a friend of your child. Make sure that you have friends of yours, other adults or parents that are friends of your child. And you can then monitor, plus you can learn yourself what you can and cannot do. And remind your child, too, that there are no take-backs on the web. Once it's up there, it's there to stay, pretty much. So, but that communication is the most important tool you can use.
And if I could just add, I think for parents, just don't think, oh, this can never happen to us. That's not true. It is deceptive, it's subtle, and it can happen to anybody. And what you were saying about I'm a Facebook friend with my children, and trust and verify, that is fabulous. That could be our mantra. Trust but verify.
That's right. And if I could add, coming from industry, you don't have to be an expert on all the devices that your child's using, but simply be aware of what they're using and what it's capable of, and then take advantage of the parental controls that's been built in, whether it's a gaming device or a cell phone or the computer. Take advantage of what industry is giving you.
Mm-hmm. That's right, because they are. I mean, industry, I just have to applaud them. They have really stepped up to the plate. And people say, well, what do I use? Which one do I use? I go, start with whoever your provider is, okay, and see if their parental controls match up to the things that we have recommended that you need to have. And then if you need to go beyond that, then that's great. You can layer and you can do all kinds of things. But we've got everything outlined in here. We can't possibly cover it all in a short press conference. But I think that we have been very thorough and comprehensive in this program. We do call it the basics, but you really do get a little bit of, some people would say a PhD. They go, I had no idea, and they really feel like they're equipped. And if you forget, you can just go back and pull out your handy-dandy resources and brush up. So again, we thank you. We thank you for making this possible, to all of our sponsors and to our partners. We thank our producers, Bo Mason, for working with us all these years, and to our panelists for coming. Most of them had to travel. They all had to travel today to be with us. Even Holly, who's a local, lives a few hours out. So, and thanks you all for traveling. I mean, it took 2 hours to get here from Great Falls. So, thank you all, and have a great day.
And thank you, Donna. We wanted to make sure that as we do dismiss, that we recognize that this has been not only an important work, but an enormous effort of dedication and leadership and vision that you've provided to the entire Enough is Enough team and our supporters and sponsors and the like. So we just wanted to say thank you for you. Keep up the good work. Tomorrow is a new day. We got lots to do. So God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We want to take some pictures with some of our sponsors that are here. And I just want to point out Tim Lord. You saw him at the back there on Rules and Tools. Tim, you're one of our great experts in the program. We thank you. Thanks. Hi.